Hey Peaches, so I am outside today obviously, and there's a plane, and now we wait. So I thought that this would be a good idea unless you guys can't hear me, because then it's obviously not going to be very helpful. But I had gotten requested to do a video on my cosmetology school experience, and I thought that that would be super fun. So the first thing that I have to say before I get into it too much is just that when people say that they go to hair school, to me there's a difference between hair school and what I did, because I went to a college and took cosmetology. I wasn't at something like Paul Mitchell or Aveda or one of the ones like that. Not that there's anything wrong with one or the other, just that there is a difference to me in the things that you're taught and techniques and kind of the detail that professors go over with you. So where I went to a technical college here locally, and the program was a year long. Usually, from what I've seen, cosmetology is not much longer than a year no matter where you go, so that's always nice to kind of be able to get in and get out. Also, something that goes along with that is don't wait to take your state board tests, because I've waited far too long, a couple months. I graduated in December and it is now June, and I just took the first part of state board. And while I can say that, are you done screaming? While I can say that if I took my test right when I graduated, I don't think I would have passed. Not necessarily because I wasn't taught what I needed to know, but just because I didn't have any confidence to be able to perform. Since then, I've been working in a salon that is amazing, and I've been so blessed to be able to be there and learn what I've learned, and kind of just seeing people do their daily thing. I don't know why, even if I'm not involved in it, it helps you kind of have a little bit of confidence. So it's kind of funny how that works. But school itself was interesting because it really depends on what school you're at and what teachers you have. I don't like to say that I had a bad teacher and someone had a good teacher, or that I had a good teacher and someone had a bad teacher. It's just different kind of what they teach you. For example, where I went to school, we graduated and had no idea about haircuts. Like, none of us really can do a lot with haircuts unless we're really skilled at that. Whereas another girl that I work with graduated from a different school, and she knows all about haircuts, but she doesn't know much about color at all, and color's all we did. So it really just depends on your professor and the school that you go to. So really do your research to see from people who have graduated there, and from a lot of them, because people's experiences differ. You know, if somebody doesn't like a professor, they're going to say they didn't get taught what they should have, even if they did. Something else that kind of goes along with that is, obviously if you guys are in college, you know this, or you should, is that when I went to school, I kind of saw a lot of people that they just wanted stuff handed to them. And cosmetology, I can't stand when somebody says that hairdressers are hairdressers because they're too stupid to do anything else. Hairdressing takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of memorization. If you're there for master cosmetology, you're not just learning about hair either. You're learning about hair, but about skin and nails, anatomy, electricity. You're learning all this stuff that you don't necessarily think about at first when you're like, oh, I guess I'll go to school and do hair. While it is a lot of work and it is a lot of information to try to always kind of have these things in the back of your head, there's a lot of it that just comes second nature, but then there's some of it that you're always going to have to work a little harder at. Ugh, planes. It is hot as Hades out here. Something much like the studying is that there's always going to be things that you're just naturally good at for some reason, and stuff that you're naturally bad at for some reason. For me, not any haircut, I won't say that, but especially the state board haircut, it just doesn't register in my mind, and I get so frustrated trying to do that, and I did in school, to the point that I would just be like, I don't even want to do this anymore. This is so frustrating. So you kind of have to go into it thinking, this sounds bad, but that you're going to be bad at something, which is silly to say, and I'm not saying beat yourself up or just accept the fact that you're not going to be good at something. That's not what I'm saying. Just don't walk into it thinking you're going to be perfect at everything that you do, because that's just not realistic. And also, go ahead and be realistic with yourself about the hours that you'll be at school. For me, I was at school Monday to Thursday, 5 to 10 o'clock at night. And then when I got to the second part, which was, first you take theory. This is how I did it at school. You take theory. So all of that is the stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much information. And that's usually, honestly, when people quit, is just because they think this is so much information that how am I going to be able to do this? So I encourage you to just hang on through that little part and at least get to the second part to see if it's what you really want to do. When you're in the first part, you're going to be going over all of the book stuff that you have to do. When I went to school, I had this book that was as big as like 5 Bibles put together. Then I had 2 workbooks, and then I had a study book. So all of that stuff you'll be working on the first part, and then you'll be doing practical things on the second part. So the first part again was 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, and then when I got to practical, it was 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. So basically this is going to be your job for a while. You just don't get paid for it. Where I went, we did get to accept tips, which was really, really nice to be at school and get tips for being at school. Something else that I really have to recommend to you, if you feel like your teacher, this again will depend on where you go. Where I went, our class was really small, so that was excellent to be able to get a lot of experiences, that's not the word I want to use, but chances to do new things because there wasn't a lot of us. Also, I felt like my teacher really knew I was there and what I was there for. Sometimes the bigger hair schools that, like I said, are specifically for hair, have a ton of people in it to where they don't even know if you didn't show up that day. Oh my gosh. So back to what I was trying to originally start. I don't know why my mind's everywhere with this subject. If you don't feel like that you're getting enough opportunities to do something, say something to your teacher, because complaining to other students about it, and I say this from my personal experience, I felt like I wasn't getting opportunities, but I would never ask for them, so that doesn't make sense that I wanted more, but I wouldn't ask for more. So while you're at school, that's the best place to do it, because if you go ahead and get your license and start in a salon, no one's going to have the patience with you to be like, oh, you're learning, it's fine. If you mess someone's hair up, they're going to be mad at you. Whereas when you're in school, someone might be mad at you, but they know they've signed a waiver, they know at the very front, the very get-go, this is a student doing my hair, they're learning, they might not have salon results. But speaking of salon results, there are going to be some people that come into school that act like they are celebrities and that this is their TV show. They want their hair or whatever they're in there for to be absolutely perfect, and if you mess it up, they're going to make you feel really bad about it. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, that doesn't stop at school. That doesn't stop with just a little bit of practice or knowledge. There's always going to be someone that you run across that's never happy with how their hair turns out, or you didn't do it right even if you did it right, or whatever it is like that. Don't let people like that get under your skin. Try to keep the mentality that the customer is always right. Even if they really get after you and hurt your feelings, you just have to know that's how their attitude is, that's how they are as a person. Maybe they had a bad day, and you just have to keep smiling and get on to your next customer. Overall, I had a pretty good experience where I went to college at, and I really recommend trying it if it's something you're interested in, though I will end with this. Don't do this because you feel like you cannot do anything else, or don't let people tell you that you're doing this because you can't do anything else, because like I said at the beginning, there's a ton of knowledge that you have to know, ton of techniques, and a lot more goes into it than what people think. Don't dumb yourself down to play a role that is not even necessary for this. When people ask me, so you're a hairdresser, I say no, I'm a cosmetologist, because that's what I am. That's what I went to school for. That's what I have my degree in, and that's what I'm going to get my license for. I'm not licensed to do hair or whatever people want to say, and I know that sounds kind of silly, but you have to stand up for yourself. You're a cosmetologist. I remember my teacher telling us, you're an ologist. Think about all the doctors that have ologist behind their name. Don't sell yourself short. Hopefully this video was a tad bit helpful. I know that I'm like everywhere with it, but I get kind of heated over trying to tell people like believe in yourself and just do good. I don't know, I'm goofy. So hopefully you guys could hear me throughout this video. There's another plane. And considering that my face is starting to melt off, I'm going to go ahead and go inside. Don't forget to leave me suggestions of what you want to see next. If there's any other questions that I can answer for you about cosmetology, I will pop your tires. I said that loud. If there's any other questions that you guys have about cosmetology, about hair, nails, whatever it is, and you think that I might be able to answer it, I'll tell you right now, I might not be able to answer it, but if I can, I definitely will for you, and I'll make any kind of videos on these lines that you guys want, because I really enjoy talking to you. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Don't forget that you suggest, and I do my best. See you guys there. Bye. It'd be so funny if somebody was in the woods behind me. So hot. It's so hot.